Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're all looking forward to see 15 fresh Danish startups show what they're all about. We will do it very simple. So if you see the screen here, there, we will just do a pitch one by one. There are 15 of them, and that will be the main session for today. But before I go on, I just wanted to give the word to Diana.
Thank you, Jacob. So hi, everybody. My name is Diana, and I'm from the Danish Innovation Center here in Silicon Valley. We've been located here since 2006 and are around 50 employees working on different agendas. One of them, and our main agenda, is to bridge the Danish and the Silicon Valley ecosystem. And we do this through a range of partnerships, among others with Plug and Play and a range of very strong Danish partners on this program, where we're supporting 15 Danish startups. So we're looking super much forward to have them pitch and present themselves to all of you here today. And yeah, I guess that was it from my side.
Thank you, Diana. And on our side, we are Plug and Play Tech Center located in Silicon Valley, but we are in more than 40 countries around the world. And for those of you who haven't familiarized yourself with Plug and Play, we are also the world's biggest innovation platform and most active early stage investor globally. We connect the most promising startups, the Fortune 1000 corporations, and the best VCs in the world. And today we have a panelist that will give some feedback to each pitching startup. And I would like to do a little intro of each one of them. So first we have Nader. Nader is a serial entrepreneur and CEO of Kayana Analytics, a big data fusion company that helps brick and mortar businesses convert visitors to customers. Kayana was named the hottest Silicon Valley company in July 2016. He was CEO of Sigma Quest, a big data for supply chain solutions which was successfully acquired by Siemens. He's also an executive in residence at Plug and Play Tech Center and University of Southern California, as well as a board member of Asia America Multi-Technology Association. Thank you for being here, Nader. Second up, we have Leila. Leila is the project manager under the founder's office at N26, Europe's leading neobank, who has raised 800 million euros from the world's most established investors, including Plug and Play. And with $3.5 billion valuation, it is one of the most valuable and well-funded fintechs in the world. But way more importantly, Leila is also a former manager at Plug and Play, responsible for pitch, positioning, and sessions, so she knows a thing or two about how to pitch perfectly. Lastly, but not least, we have Philip. Philip is an executive in residence at Plug and Play Tech Center, focused on early stage ventures in the web-based services and digital media. Over the course of the last decade, he has advised and invested in several of the accelerator companies. He's a former investment banker and a senior executive who brings corporate finance and M&A principles into the startup community. He recently wound up the Phil Ventures portfolio, in which all the successful exits were to public companies, allowing the entrepreneurs to thrive in robust environments. His board memberships are client relationships include Lucasfilm, that's Star Wars, Silicon Graphics, RKO Pictures, Investment Quebec, as well as Air France, AT&T, Digital Equipment, Golf Plus Western, and HP and Viacom. So that's our panel for today. Before we will go on and see the pitches. I will give the word to Daniel, my colleague.
Thank you so much, Jacob. It's great to see everybody here today. I am Daniel, and I support programs and operations for the Global Overseas Acceleration and Learning vertical here at Plug and Play Tech Center. I work very closely with Jacob. So today we'll be hearing from 15 startup pitches in this main room. But before we get to the heart of today's program, I'm going to cover some housekeeping first. I wanted to start off by saying that if this Zoom call suddenly ends for whatever reason, or you are booted out of this call, please go back to the Zoom link that was emailed to you when you signed up. Secondly, for today's program, each startup will have 4 minutes to pitch and will then receive 3 minutes of feedback from the panelists that Jacob just introduced. And thirdly, I hate to do this, but for the sake of time, if a startup is not done with their pitch at the 4-minute mark, I will automatically mute the speaker and transition right into the panel feedback. If you are done before those 4 minutes are up, then that is absolutely fantastic. We'll go right into the feedback. Also, for our attendees, if you need any extra support, have questions that need follow-ups, or would just like to offer some words of encouragement to the startups, feel free to use the chat, as that will be continually monitored by the team. Also, Jacob will drop contact information for each of the startups into the chat. So attendees, if you would like a follow-up with them, please use those links. If you have any trouble reaching them, you can contact Jacob, and he will be dropping his email into the chat momentarily. Lastly, I input every startup into a random list generator to make today as fair as possible for the pitch order. The list that you can see on your screen and in the chat that Jacob will put in is the order that we are going to follow. We will start with Swap Language, then move into Co2 Hero, Hololens, Kogo, Swap, Barma, Saudon, Frontliners, Collect Finance, Pro Collective, Evault, Synaptic, Cheetah AI, Uteco, and last but certainly not least, Trip. So startups, please have your slide deck ready to go when I call on you. You should already be able to share your screen. And when I say that we can see your screen, I will pin you and your 4 minutes will start. After you are done pitching, please stop sharing your screen and we'll go right into the panel feedback. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First up is Swap Language. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I have unfortunately come down with the flu, but I will give it everything that I have today. I'll promise to go out with a bang. So let's get started. Yes, Daniel, so you guys, can you see when I'm sharing?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself, your very own Scandinavian stereotype, Niklas Wallstedt, and also CEO of Swap Language. And what we do is we offer B2B language learning. In Europe, we have a big problem because the workforce in Europe, it consists of 15% international expats, and expats leave their jobs. And that's a problem, especially 42% of the expats who don't speak the local language end up leaving. Now, it takes roughly 8 months' salary to replace a worker, and that's money that companies are not interested in spending on recruitment, new training, and all these other expenses. So they buy language lessons. Now, the problem with the language lesson market is that it is the least digitally penetrated sector in the world when it comes to B2B language learning. 96% is actually being supplied by brick and mortar language schools. And it's difficult because many of the employees in companies today has already spent 18 years in a classroom and they are not looking forward to going back. So maybe I'll skip. Our solution is an online language learning universe where the employees can take their lessons anytime, anywhere. They get both access to our language learning universe that has very fun and entertaining elements, but they also get one-on-one speaking lessons over video chat. So it's a 100% online flexible solution, and also cheaper than the competition. Now, in 5 months or 6 months, we have made it to $150,000 in revenue, and the contracts that we have closed now will, upon delivery, make us pass $1 million by February 2021. So we are in a hurry. It is an amazing market right now. We have 19.7 million expats that has said that they would want language lessons. And we are going to sell 200,000 licenses by 2025 in order to reach the calculated $207 million. Now, this is definitely difficult. It has been all about timing for us, but especially about the team. The team consists of people who are the best of the best in the industries. Our teachers come from our competitors that are the largest language schools in Denmark, who were tired of classroom learning and wanted something more creative. Our CTO used to be the lead tech developer in a big conglomerate with a huge team, and his tech and organizational skills are leading us towards this like massive growth that we are moving towards. And then we have me. I used to run a marketing business, and our CEO used to be a project manager. Lastly, but not least, we have a designer who used to create designs for Lundbeck, a conglomerate in the medical industry. Our ask today is pretty simple. I am going to ask for you to connect with me on LinkedIn and contact me if you have connections to any German company.
Thank you, Nicholas. Sorry, it is up at those four minutes. Thank you very, very much. Philip, Layla, or Adair, the floor is now yours if you'd like to offer some feedback.
I'm going to jump in first. Thank you so much for that fantastic pitch and for the great storytelling. That's something that I would like to point out here first, that it's very catchy how you present your company. I think my first question for you would be, what exactly distinguishes you from the existing language platforms that we see out there today, like Babbel, like Duolingo, and so on?
So they are not business facing. They are all about direct to consumer. And for instance, Duolingo and Babbel CEOs did us a favor and came out publicly and said that you can learn to speak a language with their platforms, but you can actually get a pretty good vocabulary. So we don't have to worry about those in the competition when it comes to that. We offer actual lessons where you actually learn to speak. And we also have quizzes like Duolingo, the Duolingo format. So they don't really take, like I said, 96% of the market is still being served by brick and mortar language schools. The biggest is Berlitz globally, but it still only has a revenue of $1 billion a year, which is crazy in a $105 billion market. So it's really the language schools that we are fighting against, and it is the price, the flexibility that we give to people. All of a sudden, people are starting to get more remote in their businesses, and we can actually still serve them because they don't have to come into the office to receive the language lessons. They can be anywhere they want to.
Great, thank you so much. I do have one more question, but I'll let Nader and Philip go first.
Yeah, if I may, love your energy. Love the fact that you're going to be up to $1 million next year. That's great. One piece that unfortunately, I think because of the time we didn't get to is that how are you finding your customers today and how are you exactly charging? Those are the two pieces which was not clear. And of course, besides, what is your ask? It'd be really important to tell people right off the bat, why am I here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you, Nadia. And I'm also looking forward to the sessions we're going to have in the future. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so the ask that I have right now is actually to get in contact with German companies. So Germany is really the golden market for us because the German Federal Job Agency was out here a month ago and saying that they would attract 400,000 foreigners for specialized positions every year until 2060 in order to stay competitive. Now they already have an expat, like specialized population of expats of 5.3 million, but add a 400,000 to that every year, you know. So we want to get into the German market as fast as possible, but we don't want to just jump in and deliver this product the way we deliver it in the Danish market, because there are cultural differences. So we need corporate partners to develop the German course and actually start sort of developing a relationship with the German companies before we even get started.
Thank you. Great.
And Philip, sorry, but that is the end of the 3 minutes. So for the next startup, I will let you go first. Thank you so much for your time today, and we will hand it off to Co2 Hero.
Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Go.
Excellent.
Go right ahead.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for making the time. My name is Amit, and I'm the CEO of Co2 Hero. Co2 Hero was born in Copenhagen in January 2020 with the single purpose of empowering people and their organizations to reduce their carbon emissions. Simply put, we act as a one-stop platform to take carbon-friendly actions, and our vision has always been global. In fact, we believe everyone can be a hero. Being a hero doesn't mean you have to take actions that are drastic to help our planet. Being a hero does mean that you make balanced decisions in the way you live your private and professional life. It's time to meet our heroes. Many of them are close by. These are our users and local brands. Our users want to save the planet, but unlike Greta and practical means, know that it will take time to do so. They also know that each step, no matter how small, matters. We've seen over 175,000 of these users come onto our platform, with more than 60% of them registering, and more importantly, using our app on a near daily basis. Retention cohort since we launched our app at Climate Week New York City, roughly 1 year ago, remains strong. Moreover, we have seen 30 climate-friendly customers who are local to these users in both Scandinavia and across Europe join our platform. They pay a monthly subscription fee, anywhere between 500 to 3,000 euros, to ensure they are part of a community of like-minded brands who believe users should know they exist. Users see our app as a channel to do a number of things. 1, be inspired through content. 2, take individual challenges, earning select rewards. 3, stream and share video content with a community of other users. 4, search and find brands whose commitment to the climate is as strong as theirs, such that their goods and services are hero in the app for them to click through and purchase. 5, calculate their own carbon footprint. And 6, chat with Ella, our AI, to find answers to the questions they have around living a more climate-friendly lifestyle. Other heroes are actually spread throughout the world and prevent themselves from not necessarily doing just those things in their private life, but actually thinking about how they can do things in their professional life. These are, of course, a combination of global organizations and their employees. These global organizations are not only valued for their economic contributions, but also for the simple fact that they employ roughly 29 million people who have the power to drive climate action in various ways. Specifically, employees who can help their organizations reach net zero targets, not only through scope 1 and 2 emissions, but also through scope 3, which is where we step in. We have over 40 Fortune 500 companies in active dialogue with us now, as they explore the possibilities of what we call our employee lifestyle challenges proposition. The response we continue to see is tremendous. In fact, it has led to 18 of these particular organizations having scheduled demos with us, where the range of employees they are looking to deploy this with is anywhere from 50,000 to 150,000 across 20 to 50 countries. We will actually end up subscribing very soon, in fact, to a particular one who has just signed on, we can't disclose, but nonetheless, at a price point anywhere between 100,000 to €500,000 euros, depending on the exact nature of the deal on an annual basis. We'll launch this part of our offering at the end of this month. Our employee lifestyle challenges proposition enables Fortune 500 companies to reduce roughly 2 to 4 tons of carbon emissions per employee per year on average. We do this by a number of different features. 1, we're just creating groups and inviting colleagues to take part in goal-driven lifestyle challenges. These are focused on scope 3 emissions, which are all indirect, particularly around waste, business travel, and daily commuting, competing against each other by country, group, challenge, and/or any area that the organization desires, earning badges and climate points, additionally redeeming those points for goods and services that are climate friendly. And in fact, in real time, through our climate science-based approach, seeing and reporting on their carbon savings as it relates to ESG and/or CSR ratings, specifically using greenhouse gas accounting principles. Most importantly, our team are our heroes, from strategic thinking to climate science, from Lego to green mobility. Our heroes embody our spirit and our passion.
Thank you, CO2 Hero. We'll go right into the feedback. So Philip, if you'd like to start off, feel free to unmute. And you're muted, Philip, right now.
Unmuted now. I feel like a Workday commercial there. So it's a very big mission undertaken by a very small company. And so the question is, how do you get the aggregation of data from all of the users who have the best of intentions so that you have measurable results that you can pool with other agencies and good actors that are out there trying to reduce the carbon footprint? It's a tremendous initiative globally. The question is, how will you be able to measure yourself and make sure that you get the recognition in addition to just feeling good about what you're doing?
You're muted right now, Amit.
Firstly, we use a science-based approach towards calculating greenhouse gas emissions for any given user. And more importantly, it's baseline based on a number of different data points that we collect through a combination of different sources, from the IPCC through to other UN-based FAO, et cetera, type sources. We cluster them, we aggregate them, we standardize them, and we actually get a third party, one of the big four amongst a few others, to actually validate our principles and how we account for that. That's then, of course, aggregated across each and every user who we store anonymously in an environment through Amazon that we host all over the world.
Good answer. And I think that it would be important to make mention during the pitch that this is the way we managed to add our good results to the other good results coming in from other players around the world.
Sure.
I think that's going to become more and more important to all the governments and NGOs that are trying to know how we're doing.
Yes, great point. Thank you.
And by the way, your solution seems to be one that would attract users. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go next. First, I love that I could see the product this time. Really like the insights into the app. I think that really helped to give us a better image of how the solution works. My question would be towards the scaling of the business. So if I imagine that large companies like, let's say, Apple or Google would take the solution, you would have thousands of employees from one moment to the other. How are you prepared, or how are you currently preparing in case that happens? How are you going to make sure that that's not going to overwhelm you and that you can scale it accordingly?
So as I mentioned earlier, we actually have a customer who signed on who has roughly 129,000 employees globally. And they will, of course, tier that over the course of the next 6 months. But on any given day, on average, we'll probably have anywhere between 40 to 50,000 users that come on board just overnight, as it were. And the solution is relatively simple. So we have a number of different data centers through Amazon that are hosting the data based on, of course, regulatory requirements, which of course is important for these enterprises across the world, i.e. following GDPR versus, Chinese walls that require, anonymous, some data not to be transferred and so on. But generally speaking, the approach is that we spread the data in different centers throughout Amazon all over the world. And that gives us, a combination of course, scaling, but also real-time access for the users in a way that doesn't drag, as it were, the usage and or the actual functionality of the app down.
All right,
Great,
awesome.
thank you.
Thank you, Layla, Philip, and CO2 Hero. We're moving on to Hololens, and the next panelist who will start off with the feedback will be Nader. So Hololens, the floor is now yours.
Augmented reality has shown immense potential in both advertising and education. But currently, it takes hundreds of hours for even skilled developers and costs thousands of dollars to create interactive AI experiences. Additionally, Each experience needs to be bundled in its own separate smartphone app. Imagine if every video on YouTube had to be coded and bundled in its own separate app. That's the current state of AR, and that is not how a mass medium gets created. My name is Lucas Nagel, CEO of Hololens, and we are changing that. With an intuitive online platform that enables anyone to create AR experiences in a collaborative way. Essentially, what WordPress did for websites, Canva did for 2D design, Hololens is doing for augmented reality. With Hololens, creation takes less than 1% of the time without writing a single line of code. And the best part, experiences are shared as web links that works on any device without the need to download anything. We call them Hololinks. This means agencies can create prototypes and campaigns without hiring developers, and teachers and students can create their own experiences instead of being forced to using pre-made apps that often don't fit their curriculum and teaching style. Hololens is a self-service platform with a freemium business model. Teachers and agency creatives can try the platform for free and discover the value. When they're ready for the next step, they can get teachers can get an annual license to a distribution partner, where we already have the first one in India, and agency designers, when they've created their campaign and prototype, they can upgrade to a pro monthly subscription, they can launch campaigns and have access to additional features. AI is estimated to be a $1 trillion industry by 2030 and grow 10x over the next 5 years. Hololens recently entered open beta, and since then, more than 600 new users from 30 plus different countries have created over 1,000 Hololens. And these are some of them. Hololens differentiates from its competitors by offering robust features combined with a no-code, easy-to-use interface. Plus, the platform is completely web-based. Hololens is built by a rockstar technical team with great investors and advisors, and we are now ready to rapidly scale our commercial efforts. We are making augmented reality accessible today to be ready for the future that's just around the corner. We're raising a $1 million seed round, already have half of it committed, and our lead investor. Join us in unlocking the true creative potential of augmented reality with Hololens. Thank you.
Awesome, perfect. We'll go right into our feedback.
So Lucas, thank you so much. I really like the format. You talked about the problem. You have a outstanding value proposition. If it's 1% of time, I wanted to sign up for it. That sounds great. And I like the fact that you had the ask at the end. That's great. So I think your format is very well done. A few logistic. Number one is that I had a hard time hearing you. I don't know if it's my headset or is it you're using your, was that me or other people had a hard time hearing him as well? Philip?
Yes, it was a bit weak and of an echo. It sounded, I think Nader was about to say you might have been on your laptop.
Yeah, you might want to use a headset. So the other quick comment I have was that you want to probably have an American English person look at the format. Remember, in the US, we put the $ first and we use comma for dividing the numbers. For example, $50,000 is $5, 000, right? So it's, I think you have it the British format. So you may want to fix that. The American audience get kind of confused, like, okay, is it $5 he's talking about or is it 50,000, right? But overall, very good. And by the way, at the end, my last comment is that you may want to have whoever the investor is that, hey, here is a copy, or you can download a copy, you can try this at home, to get them hooked. But very, very exciting and very timely. So good job there.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would echo Nader's enthusiasm for the pitch. You made it seem extremely easy for anyone who is a fan of AR, understands the coming significance of AR, the recreational and business uses and educational uses for AR. No matter what your angle is, you've really establish that HoloLink has a simple way for you to come on board. And you make it easy with respect to your solution and with respect to your pricing. Now, that's extremely appealing. The next question is going to be how to use as much momentum as possible to get the word out. And you're simultaneously going to be appealing to consumers and to businesses who can make use of this as a powerful marketing tool. So that's something that you should make clear that you can articulate. And I think that when you're looking for investors, don't just take the dollars, take the smart dollars, find some investors who've had a parallel experience in a company that understands content and so on, and will be able to help you in a way that will give you a little more momentum than just the dollar bill itself.
All right.
Yeah, great place.
Thank you, HoloLink. We will now transition into Kogo, and Layla, we will start off with you for the next feedback.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Now you see the screen as well?
Yes. Go.
Okay.
Right ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Robin Eriksson, co-founder of Kogo. And when I was 17 years old, I moved from my small hometown in Sweden into the city. And it was amazing to have shops, entertainment, and everything you need just around the corner. And actually, every week, there's 1 million people just like me moving into the city. So there's no surprise that 70% of all of our emissions comes from our cities. And in Europe, we have about 300 million cars polluting our streets. And I was shocked to hear that most car trips are less than 5 kilometers. But luckily, shared mobility has risen in popularity, and research shows that we could reduce the car fleet by 1/3 if shared mobility were widely adopted. But the problem is that there are hundreds of mobility operators where users are forced to download and sign up to dozens of different services, slowing down the adoption of this promising shared mobility. And that is why we started working on Kogo, to gather shared rides for frictionless mobility and a better tomorrow. With Kogo, you find all shared mobility operators in one app, as long as they're human or electric powered. Kogo includes all shared electric scooters, cars, bikes, and mopeds from 200 mobility operators in 500 cities worldwide. And we recently launched the world's most comprehensive price comparison tool for shared mobility, really empowering our users to compare price and travel time across all operators and vehicle types in one search. And we do this because we want to make it easier to use shared mobility and simplify the user experience to help unleash the full potential of shared mobility. And the users really love Kogo. We are currently doubling our user base every second month, and our retention has doubled in the last few months. We have users in over 120 countries, and last week Kogo was recognized as one of the world's most promising mobility startups. And we'll make our revenues by selling a travel card and earn commission, and to businesses we can offer a SaaS solution with a subscription fee and a markup on the ride. And the shared mobility market is growing fast. It is currently a $40 billion market and is projected to reach over $200 billion by 2030. And we truly have a kick-ass co-founding team as well, who was part of a $540 million acquisition of Momondo by Kayak. Martin was head of development for more than 15 years. Bibi was responsible for all global partnerships, and I was responsible for growth and P&L across 15 markets. And even though we're a small team, we already cover 3 nationalities, and both within the co-founding team and on a board level, we are 1/3 female. And we raised 1.1 million euro in January, and we're now raising 2.5 million to accelerate our European expansion. 1 million is already committed, and now we're looking for an additional VCs to really join our exciting journey. And finally, creating sustainable cities is one of the most important issues that we have to solve in our lifetime. And at Kogo, we look forward to help unleash the full potential of shared mobility to help with this transition. Thanks for listening.
Awesome job. We'll go right into our feedback with Layla.
Thank you so much for your pitch. I think definitely a solution that we all need. Just looking out to the streets in Berlin, I know that I'm seeing like 10 different brands of scooters out there cruising around. So definitely a great product. My question would be how you're planning to make that next phase of growth, and especially with regards to the market entry strategy. How are you going to convince the providers to sign on, since it might not be in their benefit to have that price war with other providers?
So I heard two questions. If it was to go to market strategy first, we're basically doing a lot of paid online now. So we're on AdWords, Facebook, Apple Search Ads, and so on. We've done some partnerships with hotels and so on, and we're looking into more. We launched in Sweden earlier this year, and in August we launched in Spain and Italy. And even though we've been in Sweden for almost a year, Spain and Italy is already overtaking Sweden. So it's really taking off there. When it comes to the operators, when we launched last year, we had 130. Now we have 200. So far there's no one that has said no. So they are, still keen on this. Of course, they prefer to own the user, but they still see a big opportunity that we can actually provide more value, more users to them, and also leveraging that from taking maybe some from their competitors as well. So yeah.
Fantastic! Excited to see it soon.
I think it's a really great idea. Nada, did I just step on you?
No. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
Layla asked a very good question about the competition between the ride shares and whether or not there's any concern on their part to be seen on the same platform. Now, mind you, that worked fine for Expedia, where everybody's pricing is compared and the consumer rules. So I think that's a point that you should emphasize as you're making the pitch, because we see that as a way for you to get more and more activity as you include more rideshare services on the platform. I also want to make mention that you stated specifically that you have a third women on your team. I want to commend you for not only just having a third women, although I'd point out the true stat would be 50%, but the fact that you made mention of it, I think it's extremely important, because there are a lot of investors these days, just like you've got the passion for the climate and for improving the condition of the planet. There are those of us who firmly believe that we want to have equal representation in new companies as they start up. So congrats for making that mention. And for those who come after you, just make that a footnote to your mind as to what you will speak about.
Robin, a great presentation. I have seen some of you earlier, and fantastic. I think it was really good that you started with the story. Your ask was clear. I think overall very smooth. So congratulations. The only thing that Silicon Valley VCs will push you, they want to see some numbers. They would like to see exactly how much are you going to. I know you're doing this because right now you're basically doing this as a freemium to get more people. But very soon they want to say, okay, how much money are you going to make next year and the following year and so on? So you need to put some dollars in there. But fantastic, very smooth. Keep it up.
Thanks. Can't put everything in when it's 4 minutes, but we got it.
Awesome job, Kogo. We will now transition into Swap.
Hi, everyone. It's Lars and Lisa from Swap in Copenhagen here. Our story begins with the fact that both of us have teenagers at home, and they are really into fashion. They are always on the lookout for new cool clothes, new trending items, and they want to look good. At the same time, their generation are also the front runners in battling climate crisis with strong opinions. So why are they using fashion in an unsustainable way? Why not recycle? And the answer to that is quite simple. They are too lazy. And recycling is filled with obstacles. You have to upload items, you have to go back and forth to parcel shops. And to investigate this more closely, we teamed up with the most prestigious high school in Denmark with 6,000 students. And for the last 6 months, we have co-created a simple and fun solution to extend the fashion life cycle, acknowledge and set for their behavior. And we call this Swap. And fashion is unsustainable. Last year, it was accountable for 10% of carbon emission, and it will grow to 50% in less than a decade if we don't change behavior. Our solution is very local. We want you to see your city as the fashion collection where you can upgrade your wardrobe by swapping and have it delivered to your door within hours in a sustainable way. And all of these features that are in our app, we co-created with the students. We did a lot of Google design sprints, and we built prototypes with them, and we will launch the MVP that we built with them next week within their high school. One of the things they really demanded was that we had a simple and casual and fun interface. They know from dating apps where you can swipe right or left. And the good part of that is that the more they use it, the more knowledge we will get of them. They also wanted to be inspired and see the style in the streets and get the items that they got inspired by in the platform. And as I mentioned, they are also really lazy. So they are willing to pay us 50% of their sales price if we optimize the images that they upload and that we provide their items with a sales text. And at the same time, they want to be acknowledged for their behavior so they can see how much carbon emission they save on a personal level, get digital perks for their behavior, and also be able to see how much the community in total have saved. And the whole gamification part is also important for them. So we help them save time by when they upload items and we want to find items on the platform. We help them take away the pain of going back and forth to parcel shops by door-to-door delivery. And at the same time, they reduce their carbon footprint. We are at the seed stage and we would love to get in touch with you if you find this interesting.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Lars. We'll go right into our feedback.
Excellent mission, Lars. I like it a lot. As you know, there are some companies that have come before you and promoted the notion of the resale of merchandise as a means of not just recycling cash in a family, but also for the better good of the planet. So I think you presented that in a really in a clear way. The mission is right. You might highlight perhaps how you stand out when compared to existing services like Poshmark comes to mind. eBay, of course, the granddaddy of them all, and it's always worth mentioning, came through plug and play just like you. So it's a very big story. And I think that a little bit more information on how you start to gather users would also be helpful.
Definitely. And we just want to get started next week before we can say more about that.
Yeah, we will use the school. We do a launch with them where they will have 600 on board from there. So 10% of their school, they believe they will be able to get on board with their launch. And then we're going to watch their behavior before we finish. We have experience in marketing and have been doing it ourselves for the last 20 years. So we know, either we'll use traditional marketing or we'll come up with something with them. Well,
I think that the ecology meter is very clever. And I think that is a really great marketing tool in and of itself, because I think in the teenage demographic, when they start doing more and more trades and they realize how much they're contributing from an ecological perspective, they're going to post. And I think that's going to give you an engine of referral right there.
Yeah, we're also making a lot of fun when they deliver the parcel. We have some communication with sampling companies. I don't know if you've seen those beauty boxes that put samples in. Well, they will put samples in the swaps as advertising. So we have some we have the customer experience all the way through from the delivery as well. So the whole idea is that it'll be fun all the way through. So fun to swap, fun to upload, collect your CO2 saving, and also enjoy the whole process. So you want to do it again.
Yeah.
Make sure that the samples, make sure the samples are in highly recyclable packaging.
Yes, yeah, it's all on brand. Yes, yeah.
I have a quick one for you. So I like your tagline. Your tagline should be swap. We extend the fashion life cycle. I think that should be right on your cover. I mean, that should be on your first slide. My recommendation is move your team slide to one before last. My suggestion is that if you have Steve Jobs or Wozniak or Philip in your team, put that in the first page, but if not, put it on the back. And then on your ask, you said you're looking for seed money, but I never understood the vehicle. What's the deal? What's the valuation? Are you looking for convertible note? How much you're looking for? It was not clear. You have to be more, you need to ask investor exactly how much you're looking for and what they're getting for. So make sure you put that in your seed slide at the very end, your ask slide.
Yes, and remember what Nader said on the prior presentation, which is when you come to pitch in Silicon Valley, there's a real obsession with the numbers. So how are you doing? How are you scaling? These are very significant metrics and will help the pitch.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Sorry, Layla, we are at time, but I will let you start for the next pitch. Thank you, Swat.
Hi, everyone. Before I go any further, I can pretty much tell what most people are thinking at this point. Another e-commerce platform. So my challenge to you is I only need 3 more minutes of your time to prove that what we are doing is in fact unique, different, and can succeed. Going to the past, in 1900, starting a business was easy and affordable. But today, thanks to digital transformation, it's costly and time-consuming. It shouldn't be. That's why we have built Cellon. The solutions in the market are built for experts, but our approach is completely different. We will gain by different rules in the brutal field of commerce platforms. It's a one-of-a-kind platform. It's completely unique and very different from all the others. It's the only all-in-one no-code commerce platform with enterprise-grade tools for SMEs, even for over 2 billion unbanked adults. We do it by keeping essential tools, make it easy, and remove extra. Let's show you the Cellon in action. Add the product and manage everything just by drag and drop, file and folders, and sell in the most possible convenient flow. Just it, the retail goes online. Because of our tech, Cellon is 4x faster and over 10x cheaper to set up a shop compared to other solutions in the market. Also, our main competitor is a traditional sales mindset with the lack of tech knowledge and has resistance to spend setup costs. We started in 2018 and made a real product. In fact, our team are rock stars in building things from scratch. Our revenue streams come from subscription and commission fee. If a merchant sells $500 with free plan, we earn $10. And if sells $50,000 with enterprise plan, we earn $550. We have targeted SMEs in many countries with a $50 billion e-commerce market size and with a 25% annual growth rate. We have a plan to provide a solution with zero setup cost by creating a lovely product that anyone with any knowledge and any budget can use it. After 3 years, I believe we will reach something bigger than money. A day when a person wants to start an online business, they sell on it. So it doesn't matter to any seller or buyer whether to use Stripe or not, or use Uber, Bolt for delivery or not. This is Cellon that offers these services. Cellon will act as a trust point in the commerce chain. Cellon is the future of connection between sellers, buyers, and all these services. I'm Mehrdad, the CEO, and Alireza, the CEO of, we are a serial entrepreneur, and we are colleagues for 16 years. We are looking for partner We believe one person can make a change in the online era of humanity, even someone with no money, no tech, and no bank account. We do it by creating a one-of-a-kind platform, the all-in-one no-code commerce platform with enterprise-grade tools to act like an online operating system for SMEs. It has a large market and has already attracted attention from customers and investors. If you like it, get in touch with this mail. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you, Saudan. We'll go right into our feedback. Go right ahead, Layla.
Thank you so much for your pitch. I am wondering how this e-commerce platform in the long term will compare itself to the existing ones, because yes, faster and cheaper, that's one, but there might be a faster and cheaper one coming in the next couple of weeks or in the next month. And yeah, how are you going to distinguish yourself with the current features?
Thanks, Leila, for your idea. Selda is a no-code platform, so it is accessible and achievable for everyone. There is no template to set up, so it is simple and fast, and there is no plugin to install, so it saves time for SMEs. It's the exact differentiation that we have received from our customers. Yeah.
All right, so you do have already existing, you have done that market research, and how many customers have you asked to get that feedback? And yeah, so where are you at? I think I'm kind of, I don't have that overall picture yet. Where are you at right now? What's the current stage and where are you planning to go with?
We have 1,500 early adopters and 200 active merchants so far. And they are mainly in developing countries, specifically in MENA countries, MENA region, Middle East and North Africa.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I would just ask a quick one regarding the presentation of your solution as simpler than all others. Mm-hmm. And I think that, let's just say that the incumbent might be Shopify, where people have a preconceived notion that if you're getting into e-commerce, you're going to find a very simple, prepackaged, plug and play solution. Now, in going through some of your screenshots, you still are pointing out that people have to know their way around a little bit of technology. I would concede that in today's world, we really hope that anyone that's carrying a smartphone at least understands a basic understanding of what goes on in the current climate. But I think you need to be specific about that to point out why these features are so much simpler. And perhaps as you lay out the screenshots and the various steps, you might explain that a merchant from such and such a town or village was able to establish a presence for online selling with these following very simple steps, and now has X number of customers. A little case study might be really helpful because you're making a bold claim, and I think that it's important to be able to back that up.
Okay,
all right.
Not that we don't believe you. I'm just saying, as you pitch.
Awesome. Thank you, Saudan. I do need to move on to the following startup. So thank you very much for your pitch. Nader, we will start with you for the next feedback for the next startup.
You see, that's not our strategy. If he doesn't jump in, then he knows he gets to be first on the next round.
Well, I was the coach and EIR for Seldon, so yeah, I've seen their presentation multiple times. So
there you go.
They have heard my feedback before. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Next up is Frontliners, and Danny, I see that you're on the call, so feel free to share when you are ready.
Well, please just pin me, and I'll be happy.
Yes, I'm finding you right now. There's a lot of movement. You should be there now.
Thank you. And I am Danny from Frontliners. And I would like to start asking you all a question. So have you walked into a shop, restaurant, or bar with the full intention of buying something, but didn't do so due to bad service or no service at all? Please raise your hand. Well, I see you raising your hands, and I'm a bit sad you do so, but lucky for you, Jeanette, my co-founding partner, and we did as well, and we are going to solve that problem for you. So Jeanette is our tech wizard and CTO, and I'm our commercial capacity. We have both had the honor of exiting a company before. But we're not the only ones who have this problem. Actually, this problem cost US companies $75 billion in 2018. And that's $13 billion more than in 2016. So it is an increasing problem. We want to help these businesses to increase their turnover and their customer satisfaction. And we do that by enabling the employees to do better. I can tell you right now, there is no easy fix for that. So our solution is supporting the whole employee value chain with scheduling, training, measurement, and profile match. Our business model is business to business. We are targeting retail, hospitality, and leisure, and it's a recurring revenue model. The cost is $6 per employee to use our platform. And that's a pretty good cost when there's 576 million people working in these industries globally. So after the COVID-19 lockdown, after the reopening in April, we have now 20 paying customers, more than 600 users, and $2,500 US in monthly recurring revenue, rapidly growing. We are not alone in this market. There is several competitors, but none of them are supporting the whole employee value chain. So typically when we enroll a new customer, they actually skip 2 or 3 other apps and just collect all the employees in our app. We started in 2017, where I paid for a lot of coders to do a lot of coding. Lucky for me, I met Jeanette in 2019, and since then it has been more rapidly moving forward. In summer 2020, we launched our MVP with 300 beta users. And now we have more than 600 paying users that are giving us a customer feedback loop so that we can improve and reach our product market fit. So we aim to reach product market fit in the beginning of 2022. So we are ready to scale, and then we hope to move to the US during the summer. We're asking for $750,000 to reach this perfect product market fit, to start scaling, and to go to the US. If you want to know more, want to join us, please reach out. Thank you.
Awesome, Danny. We'll go right into our feedback with Nader.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that you got the audience involved at the beginning. That's good. It's a problem I think people understand. The piece which I was not sure was really exactly your solution. What is it that you are offering? I think you need to spend more time explaining what your solution is, right? So, and then the other one, I like the cards that you're using. Unfortunately, some of them is hard to see. The font was too small for. Remember, you're supposed to take the average age and then multiply that by 2. So that's the font size that you have to use. And by the way, changing those must be really expensive for you. It's not just changing a PowerPoint. And my last question was that, well, a recommendation. You need, especially if you want to come to the US, it'd be really good to find what I call a big brother, someone which is already doing this, and you can piggyback on top of what we're doing. I don't know, this could be Yelp, or we have a bunch of here which are going after the same target as you are, and then it'd be really good if you can become part of their footprint.
Absolutely.
And my very last feedback is when you say $700,000, make sure you put a dollar in front of it. So that's a. But overall, very good, very timely, actually. But now that the all the restaurants and everything is opening up, I think this is a good time to get into this market.
Thank you.
Leila, am I going to jump in?
I had the same point as Nader. My only really big feedback would have been to see more of the solution. But other than that, I think it was really good storytelling. And I like the card. I think it should be a little bit bigger, but I thought it was refreshing to have a different presentation style personally.
Thank you. And I also think it's very important you can see me, not only the cards.
That's right. Yes, yes.
That's good. A confident entrepreneur, right? So I think that Nader made a really good point about looking for a big brother and pointing to a company like Yelp that has really managed to grow a business out of a few random comment collection concepts to actually influencing the way that businesses go about trying to please their customers. So one is identifying who's in the market and whether or not you're bringing innovation that they've overlooked almost completely, so that you will make them a better success. The second thing is the notion of the big brother. I'm going to put that into Wall Street terms, which is a strategic alliance, a strategic partnership, but a joint venture that really allows you to become an integral part of the business of your counterpart as you come into the new market, especially one as large as the US. And strategic alliances are extremely functional for startups and a reasonable alternative funding source. And that is key. I enjoy teaching a workshop on this topic. I think it's very important to recognize that companies know that you can innovate faster than they can. And it's very important for you to capitalize on that where you can. You have a business where I think that really fits. So it'd be a nice way to take a look at the US market. We could get into that with you further offline. But thanks for a really good pitch. It was clever and innovative, and I love the sign. The only thing missing was a piano player, really, in the corner. So
that's right.
Next time.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Frontliners.
Thank you.
We will now transition into Collect Finance.
Hi, everyone. This is Tobias, and my name is Mikkel, and I'm the founder and CEO. Together with my team, we have used custom-made AI technology, social media influence, and comprehensible data to create Collect Finance, which is undoubtedly the easiest way to gather information about the global stock market. In succeeding in doing this, we have created a web and app-based financial platform that collects both social media, news articles, and stock tools on the same page. When we first started investing our money, we had a really difficult time finding the right information. And when we finally found it, there was either a highly monthly fee, or we were forced to have like 8 to 10 tabs open at a time to gather all the information about the stocks. During our market research, where we found out that many other people had the same problem as ourselves. So therefore, we thought to ourselves, why isn't there a platform that could gather it all in one single place? And that we did. The way it works is, for example, you search up Tesla on Collect. Our AI technology would then bring up the most important and the relevant news articles about Tesla. It would then scrap the company's data and of course show the stock graphs. It would also provide a timeline over the most viral SoMe post about Tesla. So for example, that could be Elon Musk tweeting about a new software update on the car. Or it could be a large Reddit forum discussing whether you should buy or not buy the Tesla stock. Or it could be a viral video about the Tesla self-driving function not working properly. All in all, something you don't want to miss out on whenever if you want to buy or sell the Tesla stock.
Yes. To introduce the team, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Tobias. I have experience from tech firms in both Sweden and the UK. Mikkel has a background in business economics and has worked with business development and investment strategies. Also, our CTO is an alumni from Berkeley who has great competencies when working with coding and software development. Last but not least, our web developer who has a wide range of talents within the creative realm. The market we're trying to enter is enormous. With over 20 million people trading stocks in the USA alone and 10 million more brokers entering the market. Also, there's a 22% rise in young stock traders, which is something that is a market that we're trying to penetrate and we would like to establish ourselves within, especially in front of a more social media based generation. But this market does not come without competitors. Finwiz is a main competitor who has an established customer base with over 17.8 million monthly users. Their differences and weaknesses instead of us is their customer communication and their functioning within the site. Also, they don't use social media or an effective AI solution. Then there's traditional media outlets such as Bloomberg, who provides news articles about the stock market, but they have a high monthly subscription fee, which is something that could scare away young and new investors. Thirdly, we have AI-controlled investment services who like to take control of the user's investments, whereas we provide a fully functioning set of tools for the user to use whenever, wherever, and however.
We estimate that roughly 80% of our revenue is going to come from ads ran on our sites. 10% is going to come from premium subscription, and the last 5 to 10% is in the future going to come from the affiliate deals. When we reach our first 50,000 users, we will be able to scale into more market indexes, which would scale into a larger customer base, which in the end would give us a larger revenue. I don't think we have time for this one. We are in pre-seed and looking to raise money. We are also in the search of a mentor/advisor that has expertise within fintech and the investment area. Preferably, it will be the same person. Thank you a lot for your time. We're ready for the Q&A.
Awesome, right on time. So go ahead, panelists, if you have any questions.
I have two quick feedback on the competitive slide needs help. Your competitive slide, you don't want your audience to be reading things, right? So again, I don't know, maybe you want to use an XY type competitive slide, which says, hey, this is AI enabled versus price and where you are, and maybe talk about that. There's too much reading. Also, this last slide, again, you're saying you're looking to raise money. How much? $1 or $1 billion, right? So be explicit. Remember, your audience are bankers. They wanted to put $1 and they get $10 back, hopefully in 3 years. So you have to be very explicit about what the deal is. Those are the top two. But it's very interesting, actually. I think it's definitely, especially now, a lot of people are doing their own investing. So this could be a very interesting opportunity for you.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
So Mikkel, to piggyback on Nader's last comment, a lot of people interested in doing their own investing. Absolutely true. And I think that for those fintech businesses that have emerged among startups that have a mechanism for people to invest directly, but may not include the educational component, it might be interesting to see if we could find a way to partner you with a company like that, and especially if we could find one that already has a solid footing with respect to funding. The other thing that we talked about during preparation, but I didn't hear loud and clear during the pitch, is that the focus on your generation, which looks at the public markets very differently than older generations did. I think that that is important to emphasize, because it speaks to the less complex means of data collection that will be used to make the investment, and the heavier dependence on social feedback from their peers.
Yeah.
And I think that's at the very heart of what you're trying to do. I think it'd be important to hear it a little bit more. Other than that, good job. Highly confident. It was nice to see other team members in on the pitch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will now move on to the next startup. And Layla, I will start with you for the next round. If you could also stop sharing your screen, perfect. And next up, we have Pro Collective. However, they unfortunately could not make it today. So a brief idea of what they do is they are a sales as a service platform that enables companies to centralize and manage their entire workforce from one secure place, removing administrative burdens and giving freelance work a new competitive advantage. I will drop their pitch deck into the chat, But next up, we have Evot. So if you guys could go ahead and share your screen and unmute, and your 4 minutes will start when we can see your screen.
My name is Robert. I'm the CEO and one of the 4 co-founders of Evolve. Together with Andreas Paima, one of the co-founders and my sister, actually, I handle the strategy and business development part of the business. Besides this venture, we were also part of another venture 3 years ago, working in the transport industry. We were doing really well. We were, among others, subcontracting drivers and vehicles to some large distribution companies here in Denmark. Long story short, we failed. And we failed because we ended up in some unfair work conditions and unprofitable deals. We couldn't keep the team motivated, so we decided to close that down. And 4 of us decided to keep going. And that's why now we are providing, We are providing all the tools necessary for former subcontractors of large distribution companies to become truly independent and work directly with online stores. Now, this is the most important thing I'll say today. 90% of all the deliveries worldwide are completed by subcontractors and not by the distribution company itself. Yet, the most common cost reduction strategy in this industry is for distribution companies to apply pressure on millions of subcontractors worldwide, forcing them into most likely unprofitable deals and definitely unfair work conditions. So we were bold enough to say, what if we found another way to reduce cost and eliminate the distribution company altogether and turn these former subcontractors into what we call Evolve licensees? That comes with a lot of challenges. The first step is to provide them with a sales funnel. That's why we developed what we call a market enabler, where we bring together both these former subcontractors, licensees, and online shops and facilitate communication and mutually beneficial collaboration. But that's not all. We provide an ecosystem of tools ranging from partnerships with car manufacturers to eliminate any initial investment when starting or scaling up, software and tech solutions to optimize efficiency, maximize efficiency, and a service manual to have all the knowledge necessary to communicate with the customer, to evaluate profitable deals, and so on. Now, for now, we have validated the model here in Denmark. We have 2 of these licensees working with 4 online shops. We process around 50,000 euros per month, proudly avoid 3.5 tons of CO2 every month, and the licensees process complete around 6,000 deliveries. The 4 customers that we work with, they work with us because they want to showcase their own values. They know the courier is the only physical contact with their end customer. And that is why they want to showcase their value. They want their goods handled with care, and they want high quality customer service. The next stage, we're looking at the global last mile delivery market of 376 billion euros. We focus on SME, and we believe we can obtain 16 billion of that market after perfecting the model in Denmark and looking at the US in late 2023, early 2024. We have a very strong team and very ambitious, and we know we can take this further. We can scale this globally. We have a very strong advisory board on our side as well, and our work got recognized by various organizations in Denmark and around the world. And we are now looking for €500,000 euros to invest in software development to make our solution more scalable. And we're looking for someone that shares the same values, because we're looking to empower the next generation of couriers, and we want people who share the same vision as us to join us on this global journey. Thank you very much.
Awesome, right on the dot, Robert. So Leila, if you'd like to go ahead and ask the first question, go right ahead.
Thank you so much. A very interesting solution, I think. And my very first feedback is regarding the format. I saw some Euro signs in there and some European formatting. So I would definitely change that when you are pitching towards the US, similar to the comments we had before. Then my other question would go towards the competition. Have you done research who your major competitors are, and how are you competing against them as of right now?
Yes, of course. We have two types of competitors. In the same time, we look at DHL or GLS or UPS as potential competitors, because we are creating small competitors for them, but they're operating under the same brand. the problem with them is that they're stiff, and it's hard for them to operate sustainably, because all of our partnerships with car manufacturers are with emission-free vehicles. So the entire network works with emission-free vehicles regardless of the setup, and that's something these large companies don't have. On the other hand, we could compete also with other softwares providing route optimization. However, their solution is not complex enough to actually empower couriers, but rather help them, support them a little bit in their process, but they don't provide the entire array of solutions.
Good answer. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Yes, very good answer. Thank you.
I might say that first of all, I think that the idea is noble, and I think that you presented it quite nicely. One of the thoughts that comes to mind whenever a startup is attempting to get into a business where the incumbents have made mega billion-dollar investments over a period of decades, it's very important to highlight how you expect to be able to sneak in there and win over market share in a realistic way. And one of the big issues that came to mind for me was that the major clients that have the goods that need to be delivered, and I'm going to leave Amazon as a class apart because they're building their own logistics group and their own fleet. And by the way, it's green. But for all the other large shippers, there is a tremendous amount of accountability that you will have towards them. That merchandise has a high value. There's an expectation by a customer that it's going to arrive on time and in a proper condition. And that warranty that's implied, if not actually written by the merchants and vendors to the customer, is one that you have to fit into and might require a partner in the insurance space, for example, that will provide the bonding that you need to be able to get into the space on a large scale. It may be a little bit soon to start planning for that, but you've got to keep it in your thought and at least make mention that we know how we will be able to play with the big guys.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I made a note of it. Definitely, we should talk to some insurance companies at least to see where we should look into the future. Yeah.
So,
All right.
So
Awesome.
Robert, can I just add one quickly? So Robert, I'm coaching another company from Plug and Play in Saudi Arabia. I need to hook up with them because they need exactly what you're doing with car parts and insurance companies. I think you guys can learn a lot from each other. So power of Plug and Play. We are global. We can connect Saudi Arabia to Denmark and to Silicon Valley. So
Definitely.
send me an email and I will connect you to Abdul Rahman. His name is. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Robert. We will now move
into
our next startup, which is Synaptic. So go ahead and share your screen when you are ready.
Thank you. Well, welcome to this presentation. Synaptic is a diagnostic medtech company. Let me present Farsin Kamari. He's a medical doctor, health economist, and a co-founder. And myself, my background is officer. I have a PhD in neuroquantification and published in brain disease. Philip said you had to be like Steve Jobs to present your team in the first. Well, our accomplishment could be close to what Steve Jobs has done. We have worked with the European Union. We're working with acceleration programs in Odense and Copenhagen. We have tested our product with General Electric, with MIM software, and work with many hospitals in Scandinavia. We have 2 diagnostic products. I will present to you our virus AI today. Because the governments are saying test, test, test. But in fact, they are maybe not the correct ones to tell about that, because we have a solution which is testing much more efficient than both what the private companies is doing and also what the public hospitals are doing. If you look at the yellow horizontal, you see that our solution, it is using the same amount of tests as conventional testing. Our solution is a software, it is CE and GDPR approved. However, you can see that in the yellow vertical, you see we're testing much more people. This is our solution. It's a diagnostic software. We're testing much more people and we're using less money. Our customers are test companies and also insurance companies. We have a clinical trial. We use it across Europe in 4 different hospitals in Denmark and in Spain. And we show that we save $16 per test in Denmark. In total, we have fed our AI with almost 7,000 patients from the hospitals. What does this mean for Spain, for example? Well, it means that if Spain used our solution from the beginning of the pandemic, they would actually have saved $1.14 billion. Well, for the United States, with only a 0.1 market adoption, the states have used more than 657 million tests. With our solution, they would actually save $6 million a month. Compared to our competitors, well, our competitors cannot use big data, they're not efficient, and they cannot test viruses if the prevalence becomes too high. Synaptic is in a blue ocean, we're all by ourselves. This is an estimate of revenue, and the main income will come from that we have a fee. So if the customer make money, we make money, or they save money, I mean. So conclusion is that Synaptic is a diagnostic software. We save expenses for the customer and we help the global economy. And we have a proof of concept across European nations. The next product launch is our brain AI. It saved patients with brain disease. It stabilized the global economy that is paying too much for healthcare. We have a proof of concept in Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, stroke, and brain tumor. And guess what? We also have patented. The market size is 95 billion. Analysis performed per year, stroke, dementia, and brain tumor. And our ask, well, we only ask for $100,000 US. Synaptic is a company for high profits. It's a company that is for our children and for the future. And I call of you for action. And you're welcome to contact me on my email. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. We'll go right into our panel feedback. So feel free to unmute if you have any questions.
I'll jump in here just because I remember the first time you pitched to me, and I must say that you have done a huge development. So congrats already on this pitch. First, like a couple of comments. I think first, don't compare yourself to Steve Jobs. I think first, it's a completely different industry. It might be confusing. And also, I think your solution is worth standing on its own. It shouldn't, I think it kind of distracts from the actual pitch and the content itself. And then my biggest question would be, how do you actually make money? What's your business model? Yeah.
Well, we have, let's see here.
I think on the test equipment, you talked about it, right? On the testing part, you said how many dollar per test, right? The savings when you showed that.
Well, the business model is that the customer, which is hospitals, labs, they have our software, and by using our software, they are saving, for example, in Denmark, $16 per test. So they save that amount of money, and then we subtract a certain amount from that fee.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot.
By the way, don't forget to move the $ to the left.
Yeah, that's right. They all have it.
I thought for sure you were going to make mention.
I was going to, yeah, go ahead, Philip. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say one personal note, and that is just on the topic of Steve Jobs. There are many of us who believe that he will be remembered in the same way as Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein. And even though we're still very close to having had him among us, doesn't diminish the scale of what he represents in the overall field of technology and human sciences. So that just that one note. To Elvin, I would say congratulations on the extraordinary credentials that you bring to the project. I think that was very powerful to hear that from you at the outset, because there are plenty of good ideas that are presented often, and they come from entirely well meaning and well-educated and high-energy entrepreneurs. When you're getting into the science of the brain itself, pointing out that you have your credentialed degrees in that related field of study, I think adds a tremendous amount of credibility instead of just pointing it to your slide of your advisors. So that's really excellent. And I think that the concept of the virus solution couldn't be more timely. And I think that talking about real world situations where you can introduce it now in countries that desperately need to be further enlightened than their governments can afford is something that would be of value. But I thought you were a very powerful pitch, very nicely delivered.
Awesome. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Ivan and Farzad. It's time. So we will now move to the following startup, which is Cheetah AI.
So I come from Cheetah, and our goal is to make edge computing possible everywhere. So our vision is to make scalable AI where you need it. And the dream is to make AI enabling AI acceleration. The problem here is companies deploying AI models who depend on faster inference and lower energy consumption cannot do it in an easy and quick way. And I'll give you an example. I've talked to some drone companies who want to deploy computer vision models to detect with video, but they're very dependent on their energy consumption. And because of that, they need some kind of solution to solve that problem. Also with with pre-processing the data. Also, I work with a high frequency trading firm who actually have machine learning models that works to trade their stocks. However, it's still not fast enough and they don't know how to solve that. But there is actually a solution out there, and that's a specific chip called an FPGA chip. It's really hard to deploy things on because it's very hard to code with. And the problem with that and people working with AI is that you hire very specific people to develop the AI models and you have very specific people to deploy it. So the problem here is there's no bridge in between those two things. Professor Merman from Stanford, who is an AI expert, he said this: FPGAs are extremely useful and efficient, but painful to deploy. So this is the chip he's talking about. So there is a solution out there, but people don't know how to deploy things on it. So this is where we come in. We are building a flexible platform for implementing and accelerating AI inference on the edge. And we want to start with computer vision because there's been a very big interest in this field. So basically, we want to make a platform where you upload your machine learning code and you get a quick translation to this code. You need to deploy it on this specific chip. With that, you actually get accelerated inference and energy consumption, which is a very big advantage in this field. And it's very easy to integrate. And the cool thing about this chip is that you don't need to buy a new one every time you want to update your model. You can basically just redeploy it. For the market, we see that 90% of all edge application will be FPGA based in the next 4 years with a growth of 10%. And for the AI software market, edge AI software market is growing with a compound annual growth rate of 29%. So there is a growth in this specific chip. And we also just saw that Xilinx, the biggest FPGA the developers or the company, just got acquired by AMD for $35 billion. So there is a big interest in this chip. For use cases, we are focusing on embedded in the embedded fields, such as drone autonomous vehicles and smart buildings. And we just signed our first contract with our first customers 2 days ago with a Danish drone company who are, I think, one of the only companies who actually develop all the components from scratch in Denmark. I validated this because this was a part of my master thesis I was doing at the University of Berkeley, and I managed to make the model from a high frequency trading firm faster. Quick on the competition, I just want to say the focus for us is also customer centricity. So basically, there is not really that many companies who are actually helping the companies from within, which is the focus we want to have. Quick on the team, I just graduated my master in computational physics from Berkeley, and we have Cristobal, who also graduated with his MBA from Berkeley. We met each other there, and recently we got two very interesting people, my professor and co-supervisor on my master thesis, who actually developed this framework we're going to use. So it's very exciting for us. Quickly for the business model, basically we just want to charge for every time. For the first deployment is going to be the most expensive, but because people need to redeploy the model frequently, we're going to charge for that every time, so they're going to be dependent on us. And at the end, we can give different levels of optimization depending on what you need. And we have a goal on 3 commercial deployments in the next year, and have the optimized platform developed also, and having an even better product market fit. Thank you for listening.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Amira. Right on the dot. So we'll now move to our panel session. So feel free to ask questions.
So if I may understand, so basically you take the AI model and then you're using FPGA to create that. So right now there's a whole bunch of companies in Silicon Valley, including NVIDIA and so on, which are doing this as the custom ASICs, right? Or doing it at the SoC. Did I understand that correctly? Right. And then FPGAs, you're going to get, yeah, and then you're close to Germany, so you understand the rent rules. So you're going to run out of gates and all that good stuff, right? So very interesting. Actually, there's a lot of funding being happening right now in this market. Everybody, that's the big next thing. If you remember, everybody worked on CPU chips and GPU chips, that's NVIDIA. Now everybody's moving into AI. So you're going to get nice funding out of this. Very exciting. If it really works, you will do well. By the way, there's a gentleman which was a president of Cadence Design Systems. Do you know him? Lip-Bu Tan? Okay, you should talk to him. He will write you a check for $10 million. So
But if you can refer it, if you
yeah, if it really works,
that would be cool.
if it really works, and the fact that you folks are from Berkeley, I'm sure it will work. So yeah, I'd be more than glad to introduce you to Lip-Bu Tan. Yeah, but good job. Very exciting space.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I think Nader already went into that direction. Where do you want to go with your company? What is your exit strategy? Do you want to get bought by one of the big chip producers, or do you want to scale this yourself? I think the roadmap or what's ahead for you for the business, the plans, that would be interesting to know.
Yes. So basically, what there is a way to make this scalable platform, we need to start with virtualization with fewer companies, because we need the models from them to be able to develop this platform. So we want to start just growing like from in that direction. So working with several companies, and hopefully in an amount of time have the platform ready, and then it will be pretty scalable, because then it will be optimized, and then we don't need to do that much actually. But we are thinking about offering these package deals, such as because many of these companies don't know about this chip. So we have connection with Intel, and are thinking about doing a collaboration with them where they can provide the chips and we can like deliver a package. So we also deploy it for them if they are interested in that. So we want to help them from start to end if they're interested in that. But we can also, but the focus for us is the platform itself. But we know that companies need different services, so we want to expand it so everyone can join.
Great, that's fantastic to hear, and I'm sure a partnership could really help you to get the foot into the market there. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, thank you, Cheetah AI. Philip, I will go ahead and make sure to start with you for the following startup. And next up, we will now move to Upteco.
Okay, great. Now I'm ready. Hello, my name is Mads. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO in Upteco. I started the company together with Sebastian Dus, who's now head of technical director and head of projects and product development, and Benjamin Meiners, who today is our commercial director, head of sales. Today we have 21 people who work on creating, helping make the vision of Upteco a reality every single day. And we got an investor called DIS in 2019, who has over 600 engineers that we also have access to. The vision behind the company is to radically improve the maritime sector through innovative drone technology. Drone technology, that's what we're experts at, that's what we're good at, that's what we know about. That's where Sebastian and Benjamin has been working with for over 10 years each. The maritime sector and the wind sector, that's my background. That's where we see a lot of the possibilities and opportunities to apply the drone technology, and where we believe there's a huge potential for drones to be used more. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to use drones in the maritime sector? Well, you could put it on this formula. Basically, what we're doing is a drone plus a robotic vacuum cleaner multiplied with a smartphone. And what do we mean with that? Well, again, drones, that's our expertise. That's what we're good at. What we are building is like a robotic vacuum cleaner. But a robotic vacuum cleaner goes out, it solves a task, it comes back, and it charges its batteries. We're basically building the same thing, except it's a drone system. And except that the drone goes out, it performs a task, it comes back, and it charges its batteries. The difference here is that our drone will not only be performing one task, but it will be performing many tasks. And this is why we multiply with the smartphone. We want to be the platform owner so that we won't multiply with the smartphone, so we can be the platform owner and develop many different applications for the system. This is also why we multiply with the smartphone, because this is what makes us exponential, which is what gives us all our growth possibilities. So what are we actually building? Well, it consists of three parts: the software to control the drone system and analyze the video data, the drone that we're building for the maritime sector, which can withstand harsh weather conditions, and a charging station from where the drone can charge its batteries and switch the payloads. The applications we're building are these. It's the docking procedure, so basically helping ships dock into harbor by flying over the ships and filming everything around them. Search and rescue, finding people who's fallen overboard, and inspection of vessels. That's what we do for the vessel owners. Within wind sector, we are working on package deliveries, so basically flying packages to the top of wind power nacelles and offshore wind inspections. The business model behind our system is that we want to sell the system at an upfront fee of $231,000. And then on top of that, we want to add a service agreement so that people can subscribe to our system. This way, we get the revenue that we need up front to scale the business, but we also get the recurring revenue by basically having a subscription platform. This way, as we develop more applications, we can also call existing customers and sell more applications for them. The market is huge. It's over $4 billion in revenue, and recurring revenue from our subscription business of over $5 billion when full market size is reached. This is how we did it. We started in 2018. We began development in 2019 when we got the first investor, and we expect to finalize development this month, actually, where we'll install the first prototype. Then we'll get into the commercialization phase and the scale up, which is where we need the investor to help us with the next steps. So we're looking for an investor that can help us grow a robotic business, who can help us that can give us the capital needed to build a strong commercial team to actually scale up the business and start selling more systems. And furthermore, we want to spend the money on developing a version 2 of the product. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Mads. And Philip, if you'd like to start off with questions, go right ahead.
Okay, I'm still swimming to shore from this presentation. Just a quick thought. It's one of those big ideas, which of course, in and around Silicon Valley, we like hearing. What's not completely clear is the role that you play in the life of one of your example customers. And so if one of my fellow panelists got a grasp on that, let me know. But in my mind, when you begin the presentation talking about the maritime industry, the first image that pops into mind is the global waterways. That's big. And then the use of a drone to solve a problem. That's small. And I didn't see a bridge between the two. So part of my question has to do with how the user of the system would deploy in such a way that there is an existing device and battery life that could actually devise a pattern over the sea in order to come back with data that you require. And that was a missing piece for me.
Yeah, I would go with my feedback into a similar directions. For me, there is an author, which he's called Simon Sinek, and he says that you should always start with the why, then the how, and then the what, because it really helps us to understand what you're doing. When you said you want to improve the maritime sector, for me, it wasn't clear what needs to be improved, like what exactly and why do we need to improve it? What's wrong with it? That was the question that immediately came into my head, and the what then came a lot later. So I think in the beginning it was very unclear and it got a bit confusing in that regard. I do think like later when you talked about the feature, it became clear that you are solving some very specific use cases. But I think towards what Philip said, there needs to be a connection between the why and then the how you are addressing the specific use cases. And then one quick formatting comment I would make is the business model and the market slide. They were both way too complicated to look at them in a pitch. I would definitely simplify that a little bit and yeah, focus on the most important information on that slide, on those two slides actually. Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback. I think I had a little bit of a rough beginning, which tripped me a little bit later on when I wanted to explain some of the applications. But I take your feedback in. So basically, we're building the system, and the system will be able to do more than one thing. And I think that's where we sometimes trip when we're trying to explain this to others, because we're not just solving one problem, we're solving a wide variety of problems with this system. The most important that we're solving right now, that we're installing here in October, is the one for docking ships into harbor. So that is basically what will enable the future of autonomous ships, that you'll have a drone that is flying over the ships, filming everything around it. And you can use this when you're developing autonomous ships to make sure you don't sail into anything. So the opportunities there are huge by using a solution like this for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. We will now transition into Trip. Sorry, Layla, my apologies.
No, sorry, Nader, because I know Nader knows a lot about drone companies, so would have loved to hear his view, but yeah.
No, I have talked to that team before, so yeah.
All right, awesome. So Matt, if you could stop sharing your screen, and Andre or Julio from Trip, if you could go ahead and unmute and go ahead and share yours, that would be fantastic.
Hello, everyone. Yep, my name is Andre, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Trip.com. We are a travel tech company from Denmark. Okay. Yep. So we started 2 years ago as a group of 6 engineers passionate about traveling, but frustrated with the current industry model. To plan our trips, we were spending way too much time in platforms like Google Flights and Skyscanner, and we felt that we all the time were losing travel deals. And if you have heard Brian Chesky from the CEO of Airbnb, he said 3 weeks ago, 40% of the people now coming to our platform don't have a destination or date in mind. And we felt the same when we started Trip.com, because we didn't care much where to go. So our goal was really to create a platform that does one-to-all platform that creates trips to anywhere. But when we create a trip for your customer, that's a big responsibility, because being the one-to-all platform, that means we need to combine flights, we need to combine the accommodation, we need to combine everything about your travel experience. And that's quite tough, because we need to make sure that what we are pushing to the user is actually relevant to him. So our breakthrough was to understand that for us to be able to push trips to users, we actually need to, before that, be able to quantify them. So we need to be able to say how good these trips are. So basically, this trip score was our breakthrough, to understand that when we calculate the trip score, we can have an AI model that tries to create the trips that have the highest trip score and pushes them to the users. And you may be asking, what is this trip score? So basically, every combination of flights, trains, hotels, and buses that is created in our backend is rated. So it has a score dependent on the locations, the cultures, the schedule generated, the weather, and of course, very important, the price of the trip. And the best trips, the best combinations that our AI creates are pushed to the user. So if you go to Trip.com, what you'll see is a very minimalistic approach to traveling. So just ask you where you are, how many people want to travel, and when are you free to travel? And from that, we'll create travel packages like this one, where we show you the flights, we show you the hotels recommended by us, and details about your locations. And of course, you as a user can customize things so that you can say, I want a specific budget, or I want to travel this much, I want to go to certain regions, or I want to avoid certain locations. And as you can see in our team, we are very tech-centered. So these 6 co-founders, very tech-centered, either computer scientists or software engineers, and of course also building a strong marketing team on the bottom, because marketing is quite important for us. And actually, we launched on the 1st of August this year, and we have been growing without marketing, because we have been growing organically looking how users are interacting with our platform, and we have received 150,000 hits till now, so during the past weeks. So we are the first movers in AI trip recommendation, and that's a huge market that we are in, and we can make a lot of money because we take 7 to 10% commissions from our partners like Booking.com for the hotels, or 3 to 4% commissions on flights. So it's a quite profitable model. And the marketing is fundamental for us as well. So that's why we are starting to invest in that. And we do it via targeted packages. So leveraging the trip score. So we push to clients, we make ads for the trips that have the highest score, and also using micro-influencers and telling the story in the media that there is this Danish Traveltech company that wants to change the way people travel. So we are raising $500,000 for 10% equity into the company. And that's all from me. Looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Trip. All right, we'll now open it up to questions from our panel.
If I may go first, great. This is actually, people have been talking about an AI-based trip recommendation for a very long time, and it's glad to see you're doing this. Let me give you a great example. Look at the family, which they have kids in different school, and the parents work at different companies. And you need to not only look at their schedule, but they need to look at their budget and also their interest. Would it be nice if the system pops up one day and say, oh, I found this great package for you for Mexico or Hawaii, and that's what the price is, just click here and does it. So if you can really pull that out, and this is, by the way, a big data, machine learning, AI, you're bringing all this data. So this is actually it's great. So that's, I think if you can really pull that off, it'd be fantastic. Right now, said that, going back to the comment that Philip made earlier about the big brother. So who would be your partners in a case like this, right? Again, Expedia, Kayak, all those guys would, even Airbnb, right? They would love you to recommend their spot versus Hilton and Sheraton, right? So I think there's a lot of opportunities here. So this is good. But I think your biggest challenge is how do you bring in all this disparate data together? And of course, there's private. You folks are in Europe, so you understand this, the GDPR issues and all that stuff. How do you bring it together and so on? But very interesting. I think what you need to do next is to actually show some really big use cases and how this thing all working and how is people benefiting. But I think very timely. So good job there.
Thank you.
I think it puts a very interesting spin on the notion of planning travel, where the model that is embedded in everyone's mind is, oh, I've talked to my family, here's where we want to go, let's do the research. And I think that just as we've heard in the, let's use the investing community, we heard a couple of thoughts, Mikkel, who presented a new generation looking to have a social energy applied to the investment space. I think you'll find that kind of reaction in the travel space. And as you create a prepackaged solution for someone that didn't know they needed a solution, but loves the idea of travel, I think that gives you a fair amount of innovation to carry you there. And then the second thing, which Nader mentioned, and which I do believe, is that a strategic relationship might be really valuable here, because there are a lot of very big established players in travel. What they don't have is this angle currently embedded in their offering. Now, there's a lot of deals done regularly in Silicon Valley that nobody hears about between large companies and small companies. And I know you all want to build your billion-dollar business, but you might get bought by someone along the way that needs what you have to offer. And my grandfather always said that no one ever died of a small profit. So an offer like that might be interesting to take. And certainly at Plug and Play, we're here to help you do whatever you want, whatever you need.
Another version of that, Philip, is you never lose money taking profits. So
there you go. That was your grandfather.
that was my CFO, actually. He says you never lose money taking profits. Okay, I'm paying you money to tell me that. Okay, thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Trip. Thank you, panelists. We do have one last startup, but definitely not the least, it is Barma. So hopefully the technology will work this time. So feel free to share your screen and unmute.
Hey guys, good to see you. And the technology is working now. Hey, my name is Lasse Nørmark, and I'm the founder and CEO of Barma. I'm here to present Barma with my co-founder and CPO, Simon Andresen. We are a successful B2B SaaS scale-up, delivering mobile e-learning to the hospitality industry. We are on a strong mission to help the industry by making onboarding, education, and motivation better. This mission is more important than ever because of the COVID-19. Ineffective onboarding and education of the employees is a major industry problem. An astonishing 74% of the workforce is replaced every year, and that costs a lot of money. This is the problem we solve. How do we solve that problem? We gather all industry relevant knowledge on the mobile and automate the onboarding and education of the staff. We create our own premium content delivered by e-learning and industry experts. And then we deliver data insights to the managers and helping them keeping the staff motivated and performing. We are on a growth path with 14% month-to-month growth rate. Our annual recurring revenue is at the moment on $259,000, and we have a promising CAC lifetime ratio. On top of that, we just won a big government project worth $253,000, and that will help us boost our lead generation and provide liquidity. We have some amazing testimonial. One respected guy, CEO of Dining Group and chairman of the union in Denmark, he has seen a 2-week drop-off rate reduced from 30% to 0% in the first 2 weeks after implementing our solution. He reduced from 4 training shifts to 1.5 training shifts. The people are more confident and productive from day one, he says.
We have a significant market with more than 28 million employees in our sum, which translates into a market value of more than $2 billion on our core product. We differentiate from our competitors on several axes. First off, we deliver premium content with supply knowledge, and we're industry specific, placing us directly in our customer sweet spot. Secondly, we integrate to the rest of the industry tech stack, such as work scheduling and planning systems, which allows us to automate the e-learning processes. We have a multi-channel revenue model, allowing us to take a subscription fee from both the suppliers and the companies. We have an amazing team. I, Simon, founded Barma together with Lasse, and we're the directors of the company. Lasse has extensive commercial and managerial experience, and I have a strong product and industry knowledge. On the team, we have strong active investors who are serial entrepreneurs, each with more than 20 years of experience in our industry. Plus, we have an additional 11 awesome Barma employees, some really strong and internationally oriented board members, and experienced investors. Year to date, we have secured $550,000 from the business angels and the Danish Growth Fund. We're looking for $2 million round in the first quarter of 2022, as we just gotten a yes today with one of the biggest breweries in Europe, which is going to be our big brother, the one that has been mentioned several times tonight to go and look for. We're specifically looking for funds and managers that can help us scale as active investors. That could be, for example, people with SaaS/Edtech experience, IT development, and so forth. If this sounds interesting, please get a hold of us for additional information, key metrics, or a tour on our platform. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thanks, Barma. Layla, if you'd like to start off the Q&A, go right ahead.
I have a list of things that I like to see in the pitch. You ticked all the boxes. No, a really great pitch. I think it makes total sense. It gives the overall picture. I don't have any questions left, to be honest. I think maybe if you wanted to be a little bit more specific on the ask who exactly you're looking for, I think that would help, but that is really like a goodie, an extra. Overall, I think it's a really great pitch. Good job.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was very, the flow was very good. I think you hit all the points. The slides were nice and clean. The only comment I have on the ask, you did mention, you're asking, I believe the number was 2 million. Talk about what are you going to use that money for? Is that used to build an engineering team? Or are you going to use it for sales and marketing? I think it'd be good to expand on that. And also, again, investors wanted to know what's the deal? Is it a convertible note? Is it a price round? If it is, what's the valuation? So you should be able to talk about that. But overall, I thought was very clean. Good job there.
Thanks, Nana.
Yeah, I'm going to just agree really quickly because I know we're running low on time. As we did in our first session, I'm going to turn the lights out outside because I know it's evening in Denmark. And I just want you to know that this market really needs your help. And it's really great to see the progress on the slides as you've enumerated them. I will agree with Layla that you did an excellent job of checking most of the boxes that we all want to hear. And it was a very good pitch.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. Highly appreciate for the coaching as well.
All right.
It was a great pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, startups. Let me give you 1 second to remove all of the pins. So that is the end of our pitch session. All of these pitches were absolutely fantastic. Now, startups, we do have a final meeting on a different Zoom call. So if you could please hop onto that after this ends, that will be fantastic. For our attendees, this session has been recorded, and once it is processed, I will send up a follow-up email later this week or early next week. I'm now going to hand it back over to Jacob and Diana to say some final remarks. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and totally spot on, and great job, everybody. Your pitches were amazing, and I can definitely see that in a very short amount of time that you all have become way better and more confident. And of course, thank you to our dear panelists. Always an honor to have such a strong resource at hand as you are. So it's always great that you lend your time to us. So just a big round of applause, if we could, to you guys. Really appreciate it. I also want to thank all the attendees that have zoomed in for today's session. I hope you liked the pitches as much as we did. And a pitch is only a short appetizer for a startup. So please do follow up with the startups regarding any questions you may have. So in the Zoom chat, there are a document where you can get a link to all of them. So you will be able to contact them for follow-ups. And then a word over to you, Diana.
No further comments from my side. Just a big thanks to everybody for joining us here today. And startups will meet each other in the other room. Thanks to the panel also and attendees. See you guys.
And Diana and Jacob, I think, and to all of your colleagues, it's worth mentioning. I know that this was something of a trial initiative to see how ICDK and Plug and Play can work to bring these excellent Danish startups into the US market and help. And you should know that the relationship between Scandinavia and the US is long and robust and friendly and warm. And every one of the companies that is interested in coming into the US market is going to receive a very warm welcome and all the help we can muster at Plug and Play to make you be successful. And that's why we're here, and we love you because you are the rock stars.
Thank you, Philip. Perfectly said.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Everyone, take care.
Have a great
Bye.
evening, a great
To all
day.
the strategic partners that have been here as well. See you in the other room, startups.